department. This car ran over two guys.
Music industry mogul under arrest after a deadly hit and run.
What if the spotlight couldn't save you from your darkest moment? What if the hands that once signed autographs pulled the trigger instead?
All I can say to you is I am so sorry that you lost someone, because...
One was behind the wheel when a 9-year-old boy was struck and killed. Another fired a deadly shot into his sister's boyfriend, Dag Drollet, during a family dispute. And one more? He murdered his wife, then turned the gun on himself.
The lead singer of the heavy metal band Motley Crue was back in court today. He was ordered to begin serving a 30-day jail sentence for manslaughter and drunk driving.
These aren't scenes from a crime drama. These are the chilling realities of the rich and famous who took a life. This is Famous People Who Killed Someone, Part 4. What if a single moment shattered everything? On June 13, 2001, actress Rebecca Gayheart was driving a colleague's Jeep through Los Angeles. In a heartbeat, her life and the life of a family changed forever. 9-year-old Jorge Cruz Jr. dashed into the street, chasing a soccer ball. Cars had stopped to let him cross, but Gayheart, unable to see the reason for the sudden halt, swerved around them and struck the boy. He died the next day from his injuries. Gayheart pleaded no contest to vehicular manslaughter. Her sentence, 3 years probation, a 1-year license suspension, a $2,800 fine, and 750 hours of community service. She paid for Jorge's funeral and settled a wrongful death lawsuit with his family out of court. Haunted by guilt, Gayheart later revealed she spiraled into depression and self-destruction, saying, "I just didn't want to live after that accident." Nearly 2 decades later, she still replays that moment, searching for answers, forever marked by a split-second decision that led to an irreversible loss. A single choice, a lifetime of consequences.
Now at 8, a social media influencer behind bars tonight, accused of causing a deadly crash that killed a man along PCH.
On July 4th, 2024, Summer Wheaton, a 33-year-old wellness influencer with over 100,000 Instagram followers, left an exclusive liquor-fueled party at Nobu, Malibu. Minutes later, behind the wheel of her white 2019 Mercedes-Benz, she crossed the center median of the Pacific Coast Highway and slammed head-on into a Cadillac Escalade. The driver, 44-year-old rideshare driver Martin Okiki, died instantly. A teenage passenger in Okiki's car and Wheaton herself were rushed to the hospital with injuries. Authorities allege Wheaton was severely intoxicated. After a months-long investigation, she surrendered to police in February 2025, facing charges of gross vehicular manslaughter while intoxicated and multiple DUI felonies. She posted a $250,000 bond and was released the same day. Okiki's grieving family filed a wrongful death lawsuit against Wheaton, Nobu Malibu, and the event's organizers, claiming reckless disregard for safety. In the aftermath, Wheaton returned to social media, sharing faith-based messages and promoting a planner, her digital presence undimmed but forever marked by tragedy. A life lost, a community shattered, and a stark reminder: one reckless choice can destroy everything.
The lead singer of the heavy metal band Motley Crue was back in court today. He was ordered to begin serving a 30-day jail sentence for manslaughter and drunk driving.
A rock star, a sports car, and a night that turned deadly. It was December 8, 1984. Vince Neil, the wild frontman of Motley Crue, and Hanoi Rocks drummer Nicholas Razzle Dingley had just left a raucous gathering at Neil's Redondo Beach home for a booze run. Behind the wheel of his Ford Pantera, Neil pushed 65 in a 25-mile-per-hour zone, his blood alcohol level at 0.17. As he swerved to avoid a parked fire truck, the car veered into oncoming traffic and into disaster. Razzle died on arrival at the hospital. 2 passengers in the other car suffered traumatic brain injuries, 1 left in a coma. Neal was charged with vehicular manslaughter and DUI, but served only 20 days in jail. Though Mötley Crüe's next album was dedicated to Razzle, the damage was done. Hanoi Rocks never recovered, and the wreckage from that night still echoes decades later. It wasn't a gunshot or a diss track. It was a truck, and it crushed more than just bodies. On January 29, 2015, Suge Knight, rap mogul and co-founder of Death Row Records, drove into a Compton parking lot tied to the Straight Outta Compton film set. Tensions flared. Seconds later, Knight gunned his truck forward, running over 2 men. Terry Carter, a friend and community figure, was killed. Clee Bone Sloan, a filmmaker, was left with serious injuries.
One thing was said, when I caught him real good in that driveway, like everything stopped, he sounded cute.
Security footage captured the chilling impact. Knight claimed self-defense, that he was fleeing an ambush, but prosecutors saw it as intentional. He was charged with murder and attempted murder, and in 2018 he took a plea. No contest to voluntary manslaughter. His sentence? 28 years. A $1.5 million wrongful death settlement followed. Once a titan in hip-hop, Suge Knight's story now ends in silence behind bars, defined not by music, but by the lives lost beneath his wheels. Once the Blade Runner, a symbol of hope, became the center of a tragedy that stunned the world. On Valentine's Day 2013, he fired 4 shots through a locked bathroom door in his Pretoria home, killing his girlfriend, Riva Steenkamp. Pistorius claimed he thought she was an intruder. Prosecutors argued it was murder after an argument. Initially convicted of culpable homicide and sentenced to 5 years, Pistorius's fate shifted dramatically. In 2015, South Africa's Supreme Court overturned the verdict, finding him guilty of murder. After further appeals, his sentence was increased to 13 years and 5 months. In January 2024, Pistorius walked free on parole but under strict supervision and required to undergo anger management. He will remain under correctional oversight until 2030. Riva's death shattered the myth of the untouchable hero and ignited conversations about violence and justice. Her family, forever changed, carries her legacy forward, while Pistorius lives in the long shadow of that fateful night, and the world still asks, was it fear, anger, or something darker? It wasn't a movie. It was real blood on Mulholland Drive, and the Brando name was at the center of it all. On May 16, 1990, Christian Brando confronted Dag Drollet, his half-sister Cheyenne's boyfriend and the father of her unborn child, inside Marlon Brando's Hollywood mansion. Fueled by Cheyenne's claims of abuse and his own anger, and by his own admission, drunk Christian aimed a gun at Dag. He said he only meant to scare him, but in a flash, a single shot rang out. Dag Drollet was dead. Police found no signs of a struggle. Christian insisted the gun went off by accident as Dag tried to grab it. The scandal exploded. Cameras swarmed the courthouse, and Marlon Brando wept on the stand, blaming himself for his son's fate. With Cheyenne too mentally unwell to testify, prosecutors struck a deal. Christian pleaded guilty to voluntary manslaughter, receiving a 10-year sentence. He served 5. But the tragedy deepened. Cheyenne, haunted by grief and mental illness, took her own life in 1995. Christian spiraled, his life marked by legal troubles and regret, before dying of pneumonia at just 49. In a family built on legend, Christian Brando's story became a cautionary tale written in grief, secrecy, and a single gunshot that changed everything. Lane Garrison, best known as an inmate on Prison Break, found himself living a real-life tragedy.
Later, I got in an accident 1 block from my house, and a young man was killed. And I found myself going from Prison Break, the show, to prison for 2 years.
On December 2nd, 2006, Garrison met 3 teenagers outside a Beverly Hills liquor store. They invited him to a party. Later that night, with a blood alcohol level of 0.20% over twice the legal limit, and cocaine in his system, Garrison got behind the wheel of his Land Rover. In a devastating instant, he lost control, crashing into a tree. 17-year-old Vahagan Setian was killed. 2 15-year-old girls survived, but their lives were forever changed. Garrison pleaded guilty to vehicular manslaughter, DUI, and providing alcohol to minors. He was sentenced to 3 years and 4 months in prison, 4 years of parole, and ordered to pay $300,000 in restitution. Released in April 2009, Garrison's remorse was unmistakable. "I'm sick of my own behavior that night." His story stands as a haunting reminder of the irreversible consequences of impaired driving. Gig Young was Hollywood's charming supporting man, whose star shone brightest with an Oscar win for They Shoot Horses, don't they? But behind the scenes, turmoil brewed. On October 19, 1978, just 3 weeks after marrying 31-year-old German actress Kim Schmidt-Young, 64, was found dead alongside his new bride in their Manhattan apartment. Police concluded he shot Kim in the back of the head before turning the gun on himself. There was no suicide note, only a diary, hauntingly open to the words, "We got married today." Young's career, once gilded with acclaim and 2 prior Oscar nominations, faltered under the weight of alcoholism and personal demons. He was fired from major projects and his personal life unraveled. The motive for the murder-suicide remains a mystery. His $200,000 estate left his Oscar to his agent, while his only daughter received just $10, a final act as enigmatic as his tragic end. Hollywood was left stunned, the silver screen forever shadowed by the darkness behind his charm. It was a night that would haunt Bollywood for years. In the early hours of September 28, 2002, Salman Khan's Toyota Land Cruiser veered off Mumbai's streets and crashed into the American Express bakery in Bandra. 5 men were sleeping on the pavement. 1, Nurullah Mehboob Sharif, was killed instantly. 4 others were left injured. Khan was arrested, accused of driving under the influence, without a license, and charged with culpable homicide not amounting to murder. The case twisted through the courts for over a decade, with Khan's defense insisting he wasn't at the wheel. His driver claimed responsibility, but a police constable and witnesses said otherwise. In May 2015, a Sessions Court found Khan guilty on all counts, sentencing him to 5 years in prison. But just months later, the Bombay High Court overturned the verdict, citing unreliable witness accounts and insufficient evidence. Khan walked free and the nation erupted in debate. Was this justice or just the power of celebrity? For many, the case still casts a long shadow over India's legal system and the meaning of accountability. Fame, fortune, and followers couldn't shield these stars from the weight of their actions. Whether by recklessness, rage, or deliberate intent, they crossed a line that changed everything. Some claimed self-defense, others never said a word, and a few took their secrets to the grave. But one thing remains. A life was lost, and the stain of that truth can't be washed away. What do you think? Should they be remembered for their talent or condemned for their crimes? Let us know in the comments. And if you want more jaw-dropping stories from the world of fame and infamy, hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications. We're just getting started, and the truth only gets darker from here. Until next time, stay curious, stay critical,